Time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
The next attraction to play this theater. This picture, truly one of the most unusual ever filmed, contains scenes which under no circumstances should be viewed by anyone with a heart condition or anyone who is easily upset.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Hope you like what you see!
All right. Welcome, everybody, to PullgetterTV, where we showcase local and non-local talent, musicians, artists.
Of all kinds.
But tonight, we're going to be talking to filmmaker Glen Coburn right here in the house.
Yes. Some noise, folks.
Hoot and holla. So, how you doing, Glenn?
I'm doing okay. I'm just so happy to be here. I can't even explain. I can't even say it to you. I can't express it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
We likewise.
Yeah.
That feeling is mutual.
Because
So,
you're so great, Corey. You're such a great guy.
aw,
It's true, yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't have driven to, where are we?
Hearst.
Hearst.
Yeah. Where'd you come from anyway?
I live on the east side of White Rock Lake.
Oh, dang.
So it's
It was a travel, man.
Castle into my old east Dallas.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's no problem. You know, I was using my map on my phone, and the thing that it really is, the sun was in my eyes the whole time, and I had, you know, it's like it doesn't talk. I put it on the map, and Siri doesn't talk to me, and I can't figure out how to fix it.
Oh.
So my wife's like, you gotta always put your phone on. She can't put this magnet thing, which is great, except that it's covered by the steering wheel. So it's like it just makes me nervous wreck.
It's a logistical nightmare.
Just driving anywhere, yeah. It's on my neighborhood.
Wow.
Wow.
That
I
sucks,
know
man.
it's not that bad, but sometimes, whew, sheesh.
Yeah.
You take a tranquilizer.
Especially whenever you got someplace really important to go is whenever.
Like this.
That's right.
When time is of the essence.
What would happen?
We go on without you and carry on a conversation like you weren't here. It would suck.
We can do that anyway. I'm just over here and be
This
quiet.
foot will be Glenn. Just nod yes or no. So, but 35th anniversary of Bloodsuckers from Outer Space. You
Yes.
believe that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was 1984, so this is 35. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the only 35th anniversary special going
I
on.
couldn't even add those numbers.
Thank you.
I was a child, practically, really, 23, I guess.
23
Yeah,
when you embarked on.
and it premiered at the third annual Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In Movie Festival and Custom Car Rally. That's what it's called.
Yes.
And Stephen King was the guest that year.
Oh,
What?
wow.
I got to meet him. That was fun.
Definitely.
Not that he was particularly, interested in meeting me, but
Right.
it wasn't like, oh, I'd like to have a conversation. It was like, get away from me.
Were you starstruck at all?
Oh,
Like,
fuck. I'm not starstruck on that. Anything. You kidding me? I lived in Los Angeles and worked in the TV and the movie business for a couple of years, 89, 90, back in that area. So I worked a lot on the Culver Studios lot, but on some other lots and locations as well. So there were lots, and you drive around town and there's some, it's like you see movie stars, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Plus, this they don't want to be bothered anyway. This is, it's their place. They live here at their home, and they're working. They don't want to be bothered. want people to say, "Wow, I love you. You're so great. I'm a big fan." They're like, "Let me get back to work. Leave me alone."
Yeah, but it's like Stephen King, though, man. I can't say I wouldn't be because, from what I understand, he's so hard to access. You know, he's not accessible for many people. I know that if you go up and try to get a autograph or something, he only signs whatever book he has out at the time, you know, stuff
Well,
like
that's cool.
that. But he's also a musician.
I'm probably tired of signing all that. Now, when I was there, I mean, this was, of course, in '84. Yeah. And so he was there with his sister, and I was sitting at the next table, and, you know, Chris Nicolau, who plays Jerry Jett in Bloodsuckers, you know, the research scientist with the big glasses or whatever, and she's sitting here with me, and I'm here. It was at the Inwood Lounge. And so it's Stephen King and his sister. And Chris says, "Hey, pardon me, this is Glen Coburn. He's the writer-director of Bloodsuckers from Outer Space. His movie's premiering here tonight." And Stephen King's sister said, "Oh, you didn't make a movie. You're just a little baby. You should be at home with your mama."
Damn!
So,
Wow.
I didn't time. I couldn't care less. I still couldn't care less. You know, I'm just hanging out, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
It's a story. It happened. You know, I can tell it. So
Right.
anyway,
But where the fuck does that come from?
what?
That attitude and stuff. I mean,
It was
is
just
trying to shoot you down for no reason?
No. It was just an interchange. She was there. She probably had a couple of drinks.
Oh,
Stephen King was taking pills. I don't know. It was just like it was one of those experiences, and it's all cool with me. I mean, I have no expectations. It's whatever happens is fine, good, whatever. I don't care.
No disappointment from that at all. There wasn't. I mean, there's
That-
times that I've met people that I idolize, and when I meet them, they're like, "Piss off," and I'm like,
No,
"You could have
it's
at least
not.
shook my hand."
It means nothing to me. I mean, I've met so many, not only met, but just like been in the presence of working with, and or walking down the, you know, in the Color Studios lot because I got to go back to stage 9. You know, the offices is you know, was Gloria Swanson's bungalow at one time, and they moved it up where, you know, it was David O. Selznick studio, which you see, you know, with the White House, you know, with the sign that says Selznick International. So that is actually the offices at the lot, and then they tore down all the back lot, of course, as they would, but the stages are still there, and so I was, you know, back and forth a lot from the production office, and you know, the cool part is, you know, somebody had to stay until wrap at night when it was you know, which was always night, but at late. So I would get to, sometimes I'd be there, you know, all alone at night, and then I would, like, you know, have to, whenever they were ready, I had to, like, copy of the call sheets on a big Xerox machine that I had to tear apart and fix half the time. But I would have to walk them down to the stage, and it was cool to be there and think of all the, you know, the movie stars and all the stuff that the people had been walking back and forth there. And it was funny because, you know, being in Culver City, you were still close enough to the ocean that there was this kind of cool, this excellent breeze that comes in. You go inland just a little bit, even into L.A. in the city, and it's not, you know, it kind of stops. And so being there and walking down there at night and just having that cool, you know, breeze from the ocean coming, it was like a real, I mean, I will never forget that. Also, there's you know, that whole area there is kind of it's a different sense of like gravity when you're walking, because there's something there that's in that place that's some sort of a, you know, a spiritual something connection to the earth and I guess it's, you know, one of those things where, you know, the two ley lines cross and you've got like this kind of really cool, you know, energy around, and plus there's that, and there's all, at that time, it's not so much the case anymore, there was a lot left of old Hollywood, even in terms of like old apartment buildings, restaurants, different things that hadn't been torn down yet, because now it's all gone, you know. But there was still a feel for that, just being around. You still get that vibe, and that was just really cool for me. And
That sounds amazing.
So anyway, you want to change the subject, or me just talk about something random?
No, that's great. I mean, I'm just listening.
I'll say anything.
We just came back from California, so we went to Universal backlot, and they still had the Psycho House up in the base motel.
yeah.
All that was still up. It's like, wow, I figured they tore it down just as
No, they use
fast
it
as
as a tourist attraction. We used to, the old village that was like in the Universal horror movies, the horror cycle back in, from Dracula, Frankenstein, and then forward with all the horror movies they made through, 48, 49, whenever they got kind of to the end of the road. Well, actually, they switched into what? The Invisible Man and, Creature from Black Lagoon, but the old kind of village of old, that European, place where, the townspeople were always, burning their torches, and it's there, it's the original, and so I was working on a Prince video, and it was back in when Prince did the theme from the Batman movie.
Oh, back in 90 or 89,
Michael Keaton, and so who I also worked with, and he's a cool guy. But for that particular music video, which was the Prince video, we were building the Bat Cave on one of the stages, probably stage 3, I don't know. But so it was kind of fun, and of course you'd have to work 24 hours for $100. But if you're like I don't know what I was, a PA or something, swing gang, I don't know what I was back then. Anyway, me and this other guy that were working on the show, the job, had to take one of those big box trucks and go to Universal, back to that little village, that European village, and there were these huge gargoyles that were stored, because they're just facades and they're empty inside. So there were these big giant gargoyles, which are made out of some, I don't know, where they make fiberglass or some lightweight material.
I think it'd be like foam or something.
They weren't that light, but we had to load those up and then take them back for the set. And so it was just cool to be able to have memories of being a kid, 4 or 5 years old, watching all the the Universal horror cycle when they put out Shock Theaters, when they put that out on 16 millimeter, all the TV stations ran all those movies, but to be there where all that stuff was filmed,
working,
was pretty cool. So, and then the people, the tourists were coming by on the trams. Oh my gosh, look at those guys! They're doing something. They're working on a movie.
Like you're on a safari or something, and they spotted a lion.
Here it
Get your
is.
binoculars out.
We're down here.
They're moving a gargoyle.
We're making a movie.
Where are they going to move that to? Oh, right there. So, that's very cool. I didn't know you had a history embedded in Hollywood.
I have a history. Yeah, I have history in a lot of places, but I have that particular time is very memorable for me because there's not always a lot of times probably in your life too, you think about different eras and what is it that identify that era with, so you can kind of remember particular years and what was I doing. And so those years were like really kind of intense and fun, and something that that is easy to remember. There are all the stories that go along with it. And so a lot of times you're just like doing your thing, and you're not.
You're not paying attention.
Years pass. You're in Dallas.
Before you know it,
you're in Dallas. Who cares? And then, but it's like, what was happening in 2004? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But 1984. What was going on?
I do remember that sometimes.
Some Bloodsuckers is going on.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is it kind of initially I did it. We didn't know what was going to happen. Although I did sort of have a feeling. I said this is going to be a cult film, but it kind of started working into that. And then I remember I don't know, my nephew's 50 now. When he was in college in a dorm, they would, a couple of times a year, a couple of times a semester, they would get together and have Bloodsucker night. And they knew the lines, and they just loved it. They got, and they had that in Rocky Horror Picture Show, but they liked Bloodsuckers better.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that. But anyway, so that happened, and then when in 2008, when Media Blasters put it out on Shriek Show, that got once again a lot of attention. So I went to my favorite, I guess, was Cinema Wasteland, up in Cleveland.
Yeah,
because it was a lot of
That's
fun.
like an underground kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very low key and fun. The people are all cool, Whereas Texas Frightmare Weekend is just kind of a
commercial.
It's a convention show, and it's tons of vendors, and it's just a big money-making deal, which is great, as it should be. But Cinema Wasteland is just, people are just hanging out, and there's a party that goes on practically all night long, and you got all the the guests who were there, and I mean, it's nobody that you're really gonna piss your pants over, but they're they're there, and I have my own little table. I just went back a year ago, I think.
You were there last year
In October, yeah.
with Sam Raimi and all them.
Because it was it was the I'm trying to think, My Bloody Valentine, the original film. That whole gang was there, and they were all having a good time because I don't know what they've been doing all these years, but that was sort of their little moment
Reunion thing.
It was their moment of fame in whenever that was 81, and so they were all back together and they were having a good time. And but anyway, so back in 80, maybe in 2008, I lost my track of it. When I went up there and I could have my table and do autographs and stuff, it was just it was a lot of fun hanging out with some good people, and met a lot of good people. One young filmmaker who I think is really, at the time I thought, this guy's he's going to be the one. His name is Jim Roberts, and he lives up in Ohio, and his first movie was Welcome to Deer Creek, which I think should be titled Children of the Corn. I mean, pardon me, I don't know what I'm saying. What was it? Oh, pardon me, try again. Zombies of the Corn.
Zombies of the Corn.
I knew it would come to me. I don't think he retitled it. But anyway, so he came up and started talking to me. This was 2008, and I'm making this movie, and I got this book out in the car of the photos and all that. So he brought him in with his mom, and she did all these special effects, all the blood and gore. And
nice.
And they used to call her Mom Savini.
Oh,
anyway,
right.
So they were like, he was showing me the book and all. He was so excited because he thought I was somebody. But anyway, so a couple times then, when I've gone up there and he's there, whatever movie he's making, he wants, will you be in the movie? I'm like, why not? So one that he did was called Tonight You Die, and there's all these serial killings going on. So I was there, and then Herschel Gordon Lewis was there. He was a fun guy to talk to because I got to meet him before all the people came in, and he said, I don't know why these people like this stuff. It's so bad, it's so gory. He's like, but I'll just show up anyway. And so then I started talking to him about marketing because that's what he's done all these years, and he has a marketing website. And he's like, now you're the guy I want to talk to. But anyway, so Jim got me, and he said, oh my gosh, you think I can get Herschel Gordon Lewis to be in the movie? I said, oh sure, just go talk to him. He's like, oh, I don't know if he's a nice guy, just go over there and ask him. So we did, and then so he was the mayor of the town who basically just wanted to kind of brush it off, all these serial killings. And then I got to be the news reporter, broadcaster that would say, what are you doing about all these serial killings, because I don't remember the line actually, but anyway, then his last line was, I'm sick and tired of you being so obsessed with all this blood and gore. So it was a gag. It was funny,
and it's called Tonight You Die.
Yeah, and Jim did another one when I was up there, recently because of the Vinegar Syndrome did a scan of the original negative and soundtrack, high def, 2K, and then they put it out on Vinegar Syndrome on their label as a Blu-ray. So that was May 29th of, I don't know, year before last maybe. I'm really kind of having a difficult time with that. But anyway, so Vinegar Syndrome and the Texas Theater had a night that was like cast and crew screening, and the Blu-ray release, and plus just a lot of other people that were there for fun because they do Tuesday Night Trash. So if you ever want to, it's really cool. It's a lot of fun and it's free. And so.
And they do that every week?
No, it's not every week. You'll have to check the schedule. But
it's always on Tuesday.
I go pretty frequently, but some nights there's like 10 people there. But anyway, for the Bloodsucker night, every seat was full.
Oh, nice.
And people loved it, and they laughed at the right times. It was like, and then I read, somebody did, a blogger, I think it's called The Constant Bleeder, and anyway, he said that, the audience understood that it was a comedy. It was made as a comedy, and they got all the lines. Whereas for years, it was like, oh, this is just Bloodsuckers is a bad movie, but It really
Because
is.
they were thinking of it to be a serious horror sci-fi movie,
Oh,
right?
but now it's like it's the thing is one of the guys who I guess I met that was just as I was walking up trying to get out the back door because people were, when the screening was done, and because I think I did a Q&A afterward, and the guy said, you know what, it's taken 30 whatever it was 4 years, but this has finally come around. Now it is what it was supposed to be. And you only had to wait for 34 years. I'm like,
hey, it seems like the old 80s flicks, because you did jump in and create that movie in what I consider the golden age of horror. Your golden age would be the Bela Lugosi and the...
Well, this is the early, sort of the VHS explosion.
Exactly.
It was the birth of home video. So all those movies that came out in that, 83, 4, 5 back in there, they were the ones that people were excited about because it was a new medium, because they could take the tape and go watch it. And initially, when VHS started, it wasn't taken seriously by the studios. They would only they'd say, "Oh, this is a passing fad. Nobody wants this. They're going to want to go to the movie theater and see it really big and slick on the screen." But so they didn't get into that market for a few years there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So and they
weren't sure who they wanted to go with, VHS or Betamax either.
Well, that got changed pretty quickly because Beta was the superior format, so they licensed VHS out to whoever wanted it. So, but as a result of that, there were a gazillion VHS machines, and so that became the home video,
the mainstream format.
That just became the format that took over because it was just they were so available for so cheap, the machines, the decks. So anyway, though, so at that point you would have like the studios would release 3 of their latest blockbuster films like 8 or 9 months later, and everybody'd be clamoring, on the list to get those
for $50 a piece.
But and rental copies back then were like $60, and so all the stores had to buy rental copies, which we Lorimar sold about 60,000 of Bloodsuckers, but that just meant it was all over the country, a lot of mom and pop stores, so everybody saw it. But anyway, the thing is that after Hollywood figured out that what, this is not a passing fad, we can make money at this. Mm-hmm. They started releasing their stuff sooner and more of it, and went back into the vaults and started getting old stuff. But in the beginning, the video stores had to buy crazy stuff. Crazy, cheap horror, sci-fi, whatever.
Just kind of take whatever was out.
Because they had to have to put something on the shelf so people could see all that cool stuff, which now it's not, these kids are making these cool little films, but it's hard to see them.
Well, there's so many more, and so many that you have to sift through, and we'll get to that later when we talk about whacked movies. But we're talking about VHS and everything, and how I love the mom and pop shops of the VHS video stores, because you could find all that underground kind of horror stuff done independently. When Blockbuster came out, they made a deal with the corporations, the movie companies, to get a discount. And then that's why they were still selling $60 to the mom and pop stores, selling them for half price at the Blockbuster, so that you had rows of the same video.
Well, interestingly, the very first Blockbuster video was in Dallas at Medallion Center. They're at, between like Abrams at Northwest Highway. So that was the Blockbuster, the very first one, and that was in probably 85-ish, and so because I used to go there was when my wife and I first got together, and it was still one of those stores that had a huge library of crazy stuff, because this is right before I'm telling you, right before the Hollywood figured out what was going on, and then of course then there were 3 Blockbuster, and then it was sold and became a chain, and so.
So did Blockbuster still have that back room section?
No.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the porn section?
Yeah.
Right.
They never had that.
Okay, I was wondering.
But so as they got more and more chains, they got less and less of the older and more out.
Well, they still, for quite a while, they had an actual library, which would be the shelves, the aisles in between. You'd have all these cool foreign films and classic films and weird horror stuff. they had that for a long time, but at some point they just took the library away so that it's just all wall to wall, 15 copies of Terminator
Exactly.
2 or
Whatever the
whatever.
mainstream
and
mainstream stuff.
so,
Hollywood.
and then nobody
blockbusters.
cared about the other
Normie
stuff.
movies.
It's
Normie
weird.
movies. That's right.
And so then, fortunately, we ended up having Netflix, which filled that void because they got everything. They bought all the films that we would consider library titles. So you could say any movie I want to see, I can get it on DVD from Netflix. I was like one of the first customers, and I was like, wow, I can get anything. But now they've gone in the same direction in that all that stuff's gone now, their library, so that I look up something at Netflix so I can get a DVD. They don't have it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Right.
But then you get streaming. Everybody goes to streaming. The DVD part of the business is getting smaller and smaller. But the problem with Netflix streaming is that you really can't find anything on there, because basically they say to you, there are 2 good movies here if you want to see them, but then we've got 1,000 pieces of shit that you can watch. They have they have to have the same production values as a Hollywood film, in that it has to be properly lit, it has to be pretty slick, have the right sound. But it's like this stuff. Some of it you want. What am I going to watch? And then you pick one and you start it up, and like 10 minutes later, it's like, nah, forget it.
Right.
And there's a real problem with horror movies on there because, I've gone through all of them that I want to watch.
Yep.
And the other ones are the ones that you start up and 5 minutes later say, why am I watching this?
Yeah. This is going nowhere.
I do that on a regular basis, and I'm always like, it's like going to the refrigerator, and when you know what's in your refrigerator, but you still go stand there with the door open. That's kind of Netflix to me. I surf through it all the time, and I'm going, I've already seen it.
I can browse for hours.
But Amazon Prime is a good alternative. You can find really cool stuff on there, but there's even more. There's like 100 times more crap on Amazon Prime than there is anywhere else, because anybody can put stuff on there. So whenever I'm looking on Prime and I see a movie that was made in 2018 or 2019, I'm like, this is not good. It's scary. I'm looking for the fun, stuff. That's like I told you I just watched Ginger Snaps again, and because it was on Prime, and I got to see this movie again, and so you can still find stuff like that you want to watch again. You just have to be. You're never going to see that on Netflix streaming.
Right.
No.
Of course.
Right. Pam, you got that photo? So we're talking to Glen Coburn tonight, filmmaker, writer, director, and actor. And I met him 5 years ago, and we're talking about VHS right now. It was actually a VHS swap where I met this guy at. And
it was hot in there.
It was in August.
It was a warehouse, and it was like so hot. I cannot fucking believe it.
I couldn't either. I thought I was dying.
And I brought my wife there, and she's like, I will never do this again. The only good thing that happened is I met you there.
Yeah, that's the same.
Of it,
likewise, totally.
Forget it.
You
were upbeat and fun, and having a good time like you always.
I was drinking a little bit, and I was like, if I'm going to be hot and miserable, I might as well be.
Why not?
Cheers.
Lit too. So
you're having a Miller High Life there. That's a big giant can of Miller.
The
That's the way I
banquet
do
of
it.
beers.
One of these days they're going to sponsor us.
Yes, the banquet. Yeah.
But yeah, there's that picture Pam put up. That was me and Glenn. We thought I thought it was going to be an actual like swap meet, like a real deal, and not just in some basement of some dilapidated.
I didn't know what I was getting into either.
Factory. I know, because our booths looked the best. Like we had our Spooky Treasures booth, VHS all over the place, and a few other knickknacks or whatever you're selling. And then Caddy Corner, you had your banners flying, the Bloodsucker banners.
Bloodsuckers, yeah. So that was kind of limited, whereas you had such a ton of stuff, and it was like a major deal, like you would have at a real convention. But you had
that's what I thought we were doing.
But you put it in a warehouse that was hot.
Yeah. Oh my God. In Texas, and they had like live bands there playing later on. It was like a punk rock kind of thing, And it wasn't. It was cool to think about. If it would have been done in December or November, it would have been better. But
that whole area now is has gentrified, because this was kind of a real even dangerous, creepy, area with old buildings that weren't, that were probably going to fall down. But now it's like they've got all the hip restaurants and bars and stuff. So
you see, I contacted the owner of that building to see if he would let me set up movie screenings there. You know,
and he was dead or what?
No, he started asking me about money, so I was like, yeah.
I'm trying to think what they call it, what that is over there. I should know. People go there. Something Grove, but you just got to go across the river.
Yeah, it's down there, just right there
like
by
going
30
to Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff is a good place to go across the river. No, Oak Cliff's very cool. I like it a lot. So
that's where Steve Ray's from. So
yeah,
Pam, what are you doing? Okay,
I'm from Oak Cliff.
Are you? You're native Texan. You just ended up in California. So
no, I just went there for a couple of years because I just wanted to, and I really wanted to stay longer, but I didn't. But no, my parents grew up in Oak Cliff, and we were there when I was a little kid, and then we left because it's just like for some reason they want to get out of there, and it's like I won't even go into it, but it's just like it kind of went. Not a lot of stuff was going there, but now of course you have the whole Bishop Arts area, and even more, and a lot of people I know enjoy living in Oak Cliff, and a lot of cool stuff there. But it's good that it's kind of been revived in the last.
Oh, it's all going to be revived.
10 years or so. I mean, the fact that you can go down there and hang out and, go to bars and restaurants and.
All the Californians are moving in, so it'll all be.
It's all over. That's it. When they move in,
that's what they say.
Buy up everything and it's gone.
It seems like most of the movie was filmed in Hamilton or Elmo. Did you spend a lot of time in those areas? Is that how that happened for you, or was
no? I didn't spend any time there.
No.
The producer, Garl Latham, his dad, I guess, it had a big business. He was an oil guy or something, oil and gas appraisal, and that was where the family home was, in Hamilton. That's the city. And so Garl had access and knew all about the countryside outside of Hamilton, in Hamilton County. So he knew about some really cool on the prairie kind of stuff that was kind of weird and creepy, and we shot it in kind of winter before things started looking good at all. So it was just bleak, and the sky's kind of gray, and which made it really spooky. So we did a lot of that there, and I think I buttoned my shirt. It looks like I'm just I should take it off, but
you're feeling immodest.
But we went Enloe, which is the Bloodsucker town. It was a ghost town. It still is, worse now. But
wow.
I went to school in Commerce, which was East Texas State University, which now is Texas A&M University of Commerce, and so we all went there. Everybody who did the Bloodsucker movie, that's where we went to school.
Oh, cool.
So we would take, we would go on a road trip. Basically, in the afternoon after classes, we'd get stoned, and we would drive out into the countryside. So we would hit all these places, and then Enloe was one of those kind of places, just off the road. You get the road to nowhere, and there it is. You got these buildings on either side. And so we thought that was cool. And to make the movie, to have the Bloodsucker town, I guess Garl maybe contacted. Oh, there was a bank there.
Yeah.
So that was who you had to contact. And the guy at the bank was so happy to do it and so excited that we were doing makeup, Bloodsucker makeup, in the bank.
Oh, nice.
I mean, that would never happen.
Nothing else much goes on in that
But
town.
he was totally cool with it, yeah. So we bust in our Bloodsuckers and our extras and stuff.
Right on.
From Dallas.
That's cool.
I don't know it would be hard to recruit people out
Yeah,
there in
out
Enloe.
there.
There's nobody there.
Right. There's
3
no one
people.
there. So we're talking to Glen Coburn tonight, filmmaker. We're talking about Bloodsuckers from Outer Space because it's the 35th anniversary. Premiered October 1984 by Joe Bob Briggs, right? So
it was the Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In Movie Festival, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll come back and talk about that. Pam, if you want to roll. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this month. October Halloween nights, dude, it's been awesome. So Manifestive, Ghost Babes, Todd Jenkins and Billy Blair from Cherokee Creek came and joined us, and just been an awesome month, and thank all you guys for tuning in. So here's a video. If you missed any of it, here's a video from a little bit of what happened over this past month. And we'll be back talking with Glenn, Bloodsuckers from Outer Space, the finale of October, if you will. So.
Thanks so much.
I learned a lot with Todd. Of course, Todd does his research, and it's just amazing. And it's amazing and fucked up everything, all in a blender of just filmmaking and entertainment business in a nutshell.
So do you take Ouija boards out there? Do you push the paranormal envelope, you know?
We do not take Ouija boards.
No.
I love Ouija boards. I like them.
I like them aesthetically.
I have one from the 1940s. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It lives on my coffee table. I have never used it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So that was just a little bit of what happened in October, and thanks again to all you guys watching and the guests we had. Phenomenal. It was such a good time this month, and we're looking forward to a lot more of it in the coming months. The rest of the year, we're going to go out with a bang, man. So, going to have some live performances. Dank's going to be here performing live next month.
Yes.
Stuart Taylor next week with Scum Scunge.
Yes, man.
But tonight we're here with Glen Coburn, director, writer, actor of Bloodsuckers from Outer Space and a few other movies, and he's all up in that movie business, man. So we'll be talking about that. One thing we wanted to talk to you about the music on Bloodsuckers, like the theme song, and we're gonna show a couple of clips. How did you come up with the music, with the process involved in? Like, we need a theme song for this?
Well, of course you got to have a theme song. I mean, was it just going to be silent at the beginning?
No.
Emily Ann and Steve,
Did
right?
you have friends that were...
Well, we did. Karen Latham, who was co-producer. She was an editor. She, Garl Latham's sister. So, that's Karen Latham, of course. So, she had friends who were, basically folk singers, but they, did more kind of rock stuff as well. And that was... Ann Armstrong and Steve Hughes,
Emily Aarons.
They perform together still, and they're really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just you see them all over the place, and they're good. They used to always do the Bloodsucker theme at their shows.
Oh, cool.
But anyway,
well,
so and Emily Aronson also was a singer and a songwriter, so they got together and just came up with some sort of like a surf rock kind of a thing, because I guess it was their idea that was the kind of feel that the movie needed to have that. So I guess, I don't know, so they wrote and performed that, and It's awesome, and a lot of people, that's what they remember. That what they like about the movie is the theme.
Yeah.
So
it's a catchy toe tapping tune.
It is indeed.
And then also they did music for all the stuff in the movie, and there's some some
like
pretty,
just the instrumental score kind of stuff.
No, there are songs like
Just a Mirage, I Want You, Step Into the Night, or Step Into the Night. Pardon me.
Satellite of Love.
Yeah.
And they're all good. The songs are really good. They should put together. We thought about putting something together, but nobody knows where the original recordings are.
Oh, wow.
So it would have to be redone. It could be, but it's just not. I'm not
top on the priority list.
No, it's just one more thing to do. That takes a lot of time and effort. And
yeah, a lot of schedules involved.
It would be fun. People would like it, but it's just like I have so many things that I take up my time with, that a lot of them which don't really add up to anything, but I have fun with it, because you get to the point where, and you're probably there, but I mean, it took me a long time to think that everything I'm doing is okay, it's going to be a success and I'm going to make money off of it, and then it's finally like, no, that's not really going to happen.
Reality sets in.
Right.
It's like, don't do anything by looking at what you think the outcome is going to be.
Right.
Just get in on what you want to do and just do it, and wherever it goes, it goes. And so
do it for the love.
So that's why. Well, yeah, it's just, I figure now I'm just doing fun stuff that, as opposed to it's good to spend time doing something creative and have fun with it. Which is what you're doing, as opposed to just sitting around watching TV, which I'm sure we do as well. But especially when you're old like me, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, my wife and I do play canasta regularly, but I'm serious, we do. And it's spread like wildfire. Now my daughter and her boyfriend out in San Francisco, they play canasta. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law. It's become we've revived the game.
Yeah. Right on. Why not?
Let's do it.
Revisit,
canasta.
Man. So let's play that intro song so everyone else could hear if they haven't heard it yet, and then we'll be right back. 35th anniversary. That's toe tapping, all right.
Definitely. It goes a little something like, you said you could figure that out, right, Corey?
Yeah, I just now picked up my guitar and I was like, we'll learn that.
Go for it.
What do you think? You got the lyrics?
Yeah, I was writing them.
We were just writing them down as we were just watching them with you guys live.
Awesome.
So, something like this.
That's it. I'll go lower than this, right? Don't know what's happening in my town. Seems everybody's changed. All of the people that I thought I knew, they're acting oh so strange. They're not in it for the money. They're not in it for the love. This is something else entirely, honey. They're out for blood. Everybody now. Blood. Bloodsuckers from outer space. Nothing in the air. They're feeding off the human race. Does anybody care? Come on, everybody. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. It's got a slow ending. The 80s metal ending.
Excellent. Excellent.
Just for you.
Just for you, man.
Corey, I didn't know you were talented. Now you've proven it to me.
Finally, people.
You've shown it.
My time to shine. Finally.
It is, yeah.
Finally.
Here, grab
Get
me
my
that
up and
for you.
comings. So, yeah, it's a fun song, man, you know?
It is fun.
So, I didn't know they were still going out and writing music, touring, and they
Well,
still play it
they're-
live. I'd love to hear them
They're
play it
performing.
live.
I don't know if they're writing, but they are. They perform at there's some sort of a blues festival thing that was in Deep Ellum. They perform. I see, but this is the last time I went. It was about a year ago, and I shot some live video for them.
Oh, you did? Did you post it anywhere? Or you holding that shit in, you know, like coveting like dentists do dental
No.
records and stuff.
No, I just did it. I said, "Here's your video," but because I've done that before, but this one was kind of like, you know, I was shooting my DSLR, probably my Canon 6D, because I shoot video with that, but I had a shotgun mic, but you can't. The problem with the 6D is that you can't monitor. You can't hear the sound. You can't put it in a headphone or even earbuds because it doesn't have an output jack. So.
Oh, for the shotgun mic or your camera?
for the audio. There's no audio coming out of the camera. So that's the problem. The 5D Mark II has it, but the 6D, that's one of the things that, is, screwy about it. So you can't really hear what you're doing. And anyway, so I accidentally overmodulated it. And I tried to do some sort of a fix in Audacity, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
I gave it to them anyway because they wanted it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we like
sucks,
this.
dude.
It sounds terrible.
I've had that happen many times.
Not like I
too,
charged
so.
them for it, so.
Yeah. You get what you get. You get what you
Right.
paid
Well,
for.
no, I'm not that
I
way. It's
know,
just
I
that
know.
I wouldn't. I'd try to make it up to him if I charged him money, but
Oh, absolutely.
not. But in some way,
It's kind of
re-record it.
relief whenever snafus
It would-
happen like that.
it
You
would
didn't
be-
charge them, right?
I should. I mean, I should try to. I'm in contact with them. I should tell them I would like to record, something. For
Make a
them.
real music video. I mean, homeboy, Aaron will be in it. Look, he's already dressed
There
for
you
the
go.
part, Here, just give him a foot
We're
and
all
all
set.
on. Oh, actually, you don't chew on it. You suck the blood out.
Yeah.
The bloodsuckers. So.
Well, you got to chew through the skin. I'm not.
Yeah, you gotta
I'm not
get
into
through
the
the blood.
easy way. I like the flesh and the outside to get through that. That's when it's good.
Oh man! So when you wrote Bloodsuckers, what was that process like? From basically start to finish, did you know you were going to do it all yourself, or were you writing it with the plan to try to sell it to?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to do something that was going to be. You didn't know from the title, is this a real kind of horror sci-fi movie or is it a spoof? And so I had to come up with a title that I thought it could go either way. You wouldn't know. And so the Bloodsuckers from Outer Space came to me as a title that I thought was really good. So then I had to come up with something to go with the title.
So the title came first.
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
And then you based everything off the
I
title.
thought it's a great title. It's a cult film. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was all set. So
Love it.
Then I had to come up with something, and I knew I wanted all the usual, as some people say, horror tropes. I never used to hear tropes, and now where I am, I hear tropes. Do you know that? You ever noticed?
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell's up, but tropes anyway. With the, you had the young couple in jeopardy. You had the military who wanted to destroy the monsters, the scientists who want to study the monsters, and so I wanted to include all that because that was just kind of fit in with the the kind of stuff I watched when I was a kid, and so. But I want it to be funny and put some gags in it. So literally, there's a challenge, and I don't remember who challenged me. I have no idea now. To write it in 3 days.
What?
Oh wow.
So I sat down with like legal pads and just wrote out stuff. And wrote I wrote my jokes in it, and then I got my friend Girl who produced it, and I said, let's go through this. And he like threw in a couple of jokes. And so basically that was it. And then I gave it to his sister Karen, and she typed it up. And then I should have spent time like rewriting the script and editing because I could have made it funnier, and but it ended up not. So it is what it is.
I loved it though. I mean, I sat in here with him and watched it, and we laughed with her and watched it. We laughed the entire time.
There's like the sex scene, like
there's a fine line between horror movies that are. We touched on this a little bit earlier. There's a fine line between horror movies that are older and that are that don't have CGI and all that kind of stuff, and it's got a stigma of bad movie. But the fine line lays between the ones that don't have the new school equipment or the budget, and they still really, really try to do everything that the new everything is. And then there's the people that go and they just embrace what they've got. They enjoy the comedy aspect of it, and they go a comedic route. Yeah. And don't the movies that try to be something they're not, I can't watch. But a good like this is a good horror flick that embraces it.
I have to tell you that all the blood effects and gore effects that are so funny, we didn't really intend them to be that funny. And the guy,
were you trying to be super serious with them? Like make it look as real as possible?
Let's do some gore because you have
to have gore. Gore and gratuitous titty shots.
People are having now gore. So the guys that did it, showed a Tim McDowell and J.P. Joyce. And I had Tim, I say all the time now. But anyway, so they showed me a portfolio that was kind of bogused up, and they said this is what they could do, but they hadn't really done it. So I was, we were like, okay, these guys are competent. Because back then, who knows? I mean, I was 23. What do you want? We were making a movie. So they tried to do some stuff that was going to be, look better. But then when we first started, I don't remember which effect we did first, but anybody who would have thought the head cut off or whatever it was, because the arm thing was pretty good, pretty fun, but the head cut off on the with the thing is like we did that, and everybody was like, oh God, this is so terrible. And as we were shooting, I was like doubled over laughing. So I thought, this is it. This is perfect, and so it worked out that way. I mean, if it had been too good, I think some people say if it was any better, it wouldn't be good. So
I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whatever that means. I think I've heard something. I couldn't remember the phrase. I think it was like somebody said this movie sucks, and so the way I remember it is if it was any better, it wouldn't be good. But forget it.
I agree. That was the exact point I was making. Those kind of movies, you just embrace what you've got, and that's what makes it so wonderful and so good to sit back and just have fun with, as opposed to trying to be so serious. Oh, it's a bloodsucker. You got to be serious about that.
That's the thing that makes it all worthwhile to me. The only thing I care about is that people have had a lot of fun with it over the years, and they still do. And so that's the gratification of the whole thing. I mean, I don't care about any of the rest of it. It's just that I enjoy that people are having fun, and who knows? Probably not at this moment. Not like we are, but people are still watching it, getting a kick out of it, So
for sure.
And we're now the Blu-ray, so more
exactly. You just released it on Blu-ray too. Well, it was a couple of years ago.
Vader Syndrome. It was May 29th of 2018, I think. That's right. Yeah, and that's not we had the big screening, but so that was fun. It was good. I did special features that were great ideas, but I had been working on. I did some stuff for Brett McCormick, who had Biotech Warrior and Time Tracers or something like that, which are movies he made that because he's been a friend of mine. He's the guy that of course did Abomination and Tabloid. So I was doing special features for him in that release, and I got really into that. And I had borrowed from a friend of mine because I wanted to cut on Final Cut. So I got like a big giant, boat of a, G5 that, you couldn't even update it because it was so old. But it had Final Cut 7 on it, and it had, but it had like such a small hard drive that I had to do everything on an external.
Yeah, and that takes time.
And it went to shit. Everything got bogged down. In the meantime, I was supposed to be doing the Bloodsucker special features. So, that's why back to Bloodsucker Town, which was going to be fun and great, it ended up getting screwed up somehow when I was trying to render it. I couldn't get it to work. And the guys I sent it up to Vinegar Syndrome. I said, what can you guys do? Oh, I don't think we can do anything with this. And I said, you have to. You've got to make it work.
Figure this out.
And so they did, and it's like everything's shitty. All the stuff is out of whack, and it looks like, you're watching an old PAL transfer, where it's just like...
Right.
Wow.
But then I did the documentary, which is way too long, that I had basically everybody in, and that turned out pretty good.
How long was it?
30 minutes, wasn't it? Only 30 minutes?
The documentary thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was longer than that.
Oh. And that's a special
It
feature
could
in the
have been
Blu-ray?
practically an hour. It went on so long I couldn't hardly stand watching it. People like it because it had everybody in it.
So
But
which one? Because I see Bloodsuckers Reunion that was 30 minutes, and then back to Bloodsucker Town that was 11 minutes.
Well, the Bloodsucker Reunion is not really on the Blu-ray.
Oh.
Although
So just on that Blu-ray,
although I had to cut some pieces out of it because to use some interview footage from people who are dead. So
oh, wow.
I did a really cool Bloodsucker Reunion for 2008 that was on the Shriek Show release, and so we did in the studio. It was really good, and Black Limbo, I think, I don't remember, but anyway, so some of the people that I got for that are no longer around, like Dennis Lutz, for instance. So, and Robert Bradeen passed away a year ago or so. Who the Uncle Joe, and of course Dennis was General Sanders, and he went on to do 40 TV shows and movies, and ended up his career on Broadway, opening 20-minute monologue in August Osage County, which of course just happened to be written by his son Tracy, which he won a Pulitzer, and it was best Tony for best play that year.
Wow.
But
Shout out to him.
Dennis kept doing it until he was like going to Sloan Kettering having chemo because he had lung cancer. Until finally he couldn't do it anymore. So but I had to send a guy in New York over to shoot interview footage with him because I wasn't up there, but I had to get it. And also Chris Nicolau was in that footage. She's Jerry Jett, the research scientist. So it was funny to get those in the original, and then I had to cut out pieces. I had interviews with everybody in the newer documentary, which is called Bloodsuckers 34 Years Later.
Yeah.
It had a real catchy title like that. But we also did a commentary, and I accidentally sent the wrong file to Vinegar Syndrome. So we didn't have it wasn't our names at the front, and it was one that I dicked around with in Audacity, because we shot it in anyway. And it just had like a lot of, weird noise in it.
And that's the one they ran with?
Yeah.
Because that was the one you sent them?
I haven't listened to it.
Oh, wow.
Somebody who reviewed the Blu-ray was like, yeah, it's great, but you just don't listen to it with headphones. So anyway, it's one thing that was great though is I had a gallery of stills. It had like over 100, and we found we didn't have any photos from the movie at all. And Tim McDowell, who was the guy who did all that makeup stuff. Anyway, I was talking to him, and he said, I think I've got some of those somewhere. And then he looked in a box and found, this is just when I was first doing this thing, he found this album with hundreds of negatives of production stills.
Oh, wow.
That had never been seen. He didn't even know that he had them. So we ended up with a really great still gallery, and it was, it's production. It's like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So it's
literally unearthed 35 years later.
That's a really good special feature that's on the Blu-ray, and they did see the transfer. Initially, it was set up for that you know, 3x4. I should say 1 to 133, and so TV, you know, standard depth dimensions. So it's 4x3, I guess. Anyway, so Chad Smith, who is a professor, in the art school, and he's an fine arts photographer. So we had the idea that we would frame all that up perfectly, so that everything was exactly where it needed to be in the frame, that make it really artsy. So then, when when Vinegar Syndrome did their scan of first of all, I don't remember how that was, but they ended up probably cutting off a little of the top and bottom, you know, which kind of screwed it up. But I have to tell you something that's really weird, and I haven't told anybody, is I've never watched it.
Really?
The Blu-ray, the movie on Blu-ray, I never watched it. Okay. I'm not kidding you.
Why not?
Well, I just was like, you know, I knew that the transfer was going to be, you know, I was at Texas Frightmare Weekend, and I was over with the Vinegar Syndrome guys, and my friend Chad, who shot the movie. We're over there talking, and like, well, what happened when you scanned this, and you had to have it for, you know, 16:9 for widescreen, and, you know, he was like, well, we just cut a tiny bit off the top and the bottom. I was like,
yeah,
I can't even watch it. I should. I'm going to go home and watch it now.
Are you?
You know, but it was like, it's just one of those weird things about me is like, you know, I don't really want to, you know, it's like the bad special features that I don't want to see it. I don't want to listen to the commentary track. It's just, I can't do it. It's just one of those things for me. It's like, you know, not watching.
Yeah.
I don't like to see myself, you know, on camera in anything. You know,
I get it.
I can't watch this interview, but
I get it.
You're watching it right now, live.
Right.
No, wave at yourself.
I'm not going to look over there. You know, I can't. I'm not going to be able to watch this because I'm going to say, you know, I talk out of the side of my mouth, which I do.
Criticize yourself.
And so it depends on where. If I'm over here, you can't really tell, but if I'm here, you can see that I'm talking out of this side of my mouth. So we did. This is my good side though for camera, you know, right here. So that's good. But you know, I don't want to see myself talking out of the side of my mouth. It bugs me.
Lucky you have a good side. You could be stuck with all this.
No, this over here is not the best. This is the good part here because this is where
the hair swirls over.
Yeah. You know, it's just
catch the wind.
Anyway, enough of that. But still, I don't really like to see myself. You know, so that's just one of those things. I don't know.
Bill's the same way there. So
there you go.
What scene we got next, Pam?
Are you trying to get a leg up on the situation?
Keep my foot out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Research City Barium Enema.
Oh yeah, the barium enema scene. So you're in this scene, and you said you were 23 years old then?
Yeah.
First enema?
Ridiculous because I'm supposed to be a research scientist. So it was, you know, stupid that a 23-year-old would, you know, and I mean, I was obviously the hair god in the movie.
Yeah.
As I tried to be for a long time.
And the beard god.
Well, the beard, no, it was, I had very tight cropped, you know, that was the whole thing. It had to be very tight. And then I had the, you know, that because Tim McDowell did that hair, you know, on me, which in real, because we were friends and he really did, not for the movie, but, because it was, you know, we're talking about 84.
Yeah.
You
Big
know,
hair days.
It was like Duran Duran, you know, that's the thing. So, anyway, there you go. The barium enema. I don't know. It was like, that was just in the script, and I memorized it, and then I think that is one thing that I had to get really, you know, angry and over the top, you know, because I'm usually so low key that I really had to push that, but that was good. It worked out.
I mean, that's one of them scenes too. It's like if they haven't picked up on that it's a comedy style sci-fi horror flick, then they're not going to get it after this scene at all.
A lot of times the people watch it with the sound turned down, so they don't really know.
Oh,
that it's funny. They're like,
funny.
We can't pay attention to that. It's just in the background. So
yeah. So check it out, guys. Check it out for yourselves, right here. The barium enema.
Something weird is going on here. Something really weird is going on here.
What do you make of all this?
As the working fluid is introduced into the System A purge orifice, a vacuum is being generated in System B. When this reaches 29.5 inches of mercury, steam is introduced, which further lowers the pressure and cooling begins.
I've had about enough of your shit, you disgusting bloodsucker. If you don't shut up, I'll beat you to a pulp.
Oh, come on, Ralph. You're a research scientist. You've got to start acting like one. Here, try one of these. This will snap you back into position.
Thanks, BJ. Ooh, that's a real pretty one.
Go ahead, take two. They're small. Here, use this. Wash it down with.
You're a real pal, BJ. I don't think I could make it without you.
All right, Dr. Pace, mellow out. I don't like the tone of your voice. You just changed the relative pitch, not the tone.
Oh, look at the mess you've made. Ugh, there's no need for that. I don't know why you're so upset. We don't want to hurt you. We just want to study you.
You should understand that, Dr. Pace. I mean, you are the head of Research City.
You unstrap me.
I don't think you're capable of making that decision in your current condition. Now, you're only making it harder on yourself by not cooperating. Just help us understand what this is all about.
Let me handle this. All right. Are you gonna talk or do we have to make you talk? Don't we have another barium enema for Dr. Pace?
I'll talk.
All right, I know, we're back.
Are you gonna talk or do we have to make?
There we go. Got to make you talk.
Oh my gosh! Don't we have another barium minimum for Dr. Pace? I'll talk.
That was awesome. So you were telling us a little bit about for me, when it comes to music, when it comes to movies, when you really know what's going on behind the scenes, it makes it 10 times better. So you were talking to us about the facial expression when you took the drink of alcohol and so forth, and that those little bitty things that you do just kind of make the movie a little bit better.
I don't remember it, but for some reason I threw that in. Also, when I'm about to do when I have the tray with the, little medical things that I'm going to try to obviously do an autopsy, which is, and then he has those straps that are like,
yeah.
But anyway, so when I'm on camera, for that, then yeah, I do a little bit that. I think it's very funny, but I don't remember doing it. I don't remember anything about it, but it was just one of those things. So now that I've tooted my own horn, let's move on to something.
Oh, you're not tooting your own horn at all.
Well,
man.
we were talking about you being. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you about them Research City jackets. Like, now that you said you came up with the title and wrote the story based on the title, it kind of makes sense now how these places have like very generic names, like instead of a science facility, it's Research City, You
just had that embroidery on the back.
Yeah, that lab coat, who made those for you? And were you going out of your way to make it like super simple, or was it budget reasons?
The costume. No, it was meant to be like almost like the back of a bowling jacket or something. It was meant to be,
like a bowling
It's
team.
embroidered. I don't know. We did it that way. I don't have mine. I don't know where they went.
Oh.
I don't have any. I have
that thing would
nothing.
be worth $60,000.
It would probably be worth 60 cents.
I'd give you 100.
I'd probably have to pay 60 cents to get somebody to take it. But I don't know. I have nothing really. I don't have anything from the movie.
Oh.
I mean, I wasn't. I didn't know I was supposed to collect things back then. So.
I know you never do until it's too late, right? So.
Well, I'm not crying about it.
I know.
Totally off subject. You said that you were making jokes about being the hair god and this and so forth, but in real life you're a raccoon whisperer. I have learned.
What does that mean? Oh, because we had a raccoon
that hangs out with your dogs now.
Well, we named him Arlo, and he actually would he'd recognize his name. He'd say Arlo, and he would look at you, but he left.
Oh, did he?
And I think because he got tired of my dog, because my dog was really friendly with him, and he was perfectly happy with us. Just kind of like I just want to hang out. You know, Arlo, he just wants to hang out, but my dog's just like, you know, and she would be so excited to go outside. She had to go outside all the time. She was ready to go out there and, you know, see the raccoon. So, but I think that it's like the raccoon would sleep. We have all these bushes, you know, and with the tree overhanging, and so, you know, Ruby kept going back there, and so, you know, my wife said, "Come here," and we look back there, and of course Arlo's like kind of try to sleep, but he can't sleep because Ruby's so irritating. So as a result of that, I think he left. I saw him the next day. He was on the outside of our fence, you know, in the side yard where a neighbor's fence and he was sleeping, and I got scared because I thought he was dead.
Oh.
So I opened up this was a couple of days ago. I opened up. We have the big window that slides open in that area back there by the kitchen, and I threw a tennis ball at him because I wanted to see if he was dead, and he still didn't move. So then I had to go out in the backyard by the back fence, and I had to and then I threw a little pebble, and it landed right next to him, and he kind of barely opened his eyes.
Throwing rocks at me for
But
it,
he was
man.
sleeping. He was sleeping out in the open. I thought he's not protected. What could happen?
Yeah.
Why was I worried about it? And you know, it was like he's a wild animal. But then the next time I looked, he was like up, you know, my neighbor's house and my house, you know, up in the front, like just sitting there looking back at me.
Oh wow.
And you know, I looked at him for a minute, and it was like he was like, "Okay, this is it. I'm gone," and he left. Now, some other neighbors were excited because they saw him hanging out, but I think one of the neighbors fed him, which is, you know, wrong.
Yeah, cardinal rule.
We didn't. Yeah, do not feed a raccoon. You really don't want a raccoon to stay at all. Yeah. I mean, this one seemed like it was almost like somebody's pet because it was so laid back and hanging out, and it liked us and all. But you know, they're wild animals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're really cool and nice until they're not.
Exactly.
You know, and they'll go crazy and bite the shit out of you, and just. I mean, I'm not talking about rabid or sick. I mean, they're wild animals.
Raccoons can be fierce. You're absolutely right.
You know, you don't want to put any food out. You don't want to do anything that makes them happy, because you don't want a raccoon living in your yard.
Right.
And plus, they do damage and stuff. It's just not.
Absolutely.
They're very smart. They're smarter than dogs, you know.
They're incredibly smart. Yeah, absolutely.
They can remember things very quickly, and and they do all kinds of weird stuff with those little hands.
Yep, absolutely. It's one of the only animals that washes their food.
Yeah, I read somewhere if you're going to get one, you have to designate like a whole room to it, because if you leave it in your house when you go away, every cabinet will be open and everything will be just all
We had back in the old days, it was the Chevette from the movie, the Bloodsucker movie, and I think I still had it at that time, but the latch wouldn't work on the back, but it was still kind of heavy, you know, the thing, you know, the hatchback thing, and so we're on a camping trip. I think we were out at like Caddo Lake, you know, with the big cypress trees and all. And we were, you know, sleeping in the tent. We kept hearing noises. I'm not going to go out there. It's too scary. It turned out that the two raccoons actually opened it up, got inside, and stole the cookies. So they are very smart. But, you know, but the thing is, there's such a weird thing because they're a totally different species. What is it, like a cat or a dog? It's something that's, which I can't remember now, but it's like a totally different species. You don't want them as a pet. I heard it could take 5 months to litter box train them.
Yeah, they can be a pain. Definitely, they can be a pain.
I don't want one around. We got cats and a dog, and that's enough. Very easygoing. They don't bite you or anything like that. Well, not very much.
Not going to catch anything if they do.
Yeah, they're known for spreading rabies too.
Oh, raccoons?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, distemper.
Yeah,
bad. You don't want them around. So he's gone.
Right on.
Goodbye, Arlo.
So what's the next clip we got there?
Actually, I skipped one. The walking montage was before the...
Yeah, we're talking about the music. So this little walking montage, it reminds me, I grew up in Chico, Texas, you know, in Wise County, if you've ever been out there. But all that land and mesquite trees, it's all basically the same Texas weather, you know, and hot, and it seems barren, you know.
Yeah.
So it looked very familiar to me. Inlo or whatever it is could have been Chico to me. So, you know, going over the barbed wire fences and through all that stuff.
You know, Chico's, they sell clothes for women that are really easy to wear.
For women? Or
My mom shops.
That's why I always say they're easy to wear. You know, it's one of those things like, you know, it's not quite like wearing a smock, but it's like it's like
one size
it's
fits
really kind of
all.
loose garanimals, you know, for women. Wow. I don't mean that in a bad way, because I mean a lot of women I know they wear Chico's clothes, but you know it's like, you know, it's just one
Easy
thing.
mix and match.
Yeah, it's like garanimals, which I did. The bad thing I said, which, you know, my daughter's boyfriend or fiance, whatever the hell he is like really short and skinny, and he has to buy his clothes from the boys department. And so I used to joke that he had to wear garanimals, and I used to say that to him. And then my daughter's like, "Don't ever say that again." So
if y'all don't have kids, and that joke isn't funny, but that's
they're
funny.
great. They're a great couple, and I wish I'd be nice when they'll get married sometime. But anyway, they're out in the Bay Area, you know, in Alameda, and she works at a publishing company in Berkeley, and he's got some big, you know, job at a charitable foundation where he makes a bunch of money. But anyway, my daughter went to Emerson College in Boston, and which is, you know, real crazy, kind of freaky art school. But anyway, right on Boston Common, it's like an urban school. But she got her degree in writing, literature, and publishing. And I used to think that's the perfect way to never get a job.
Yeah.
But she got a job in Berkeley doing exactly what she wants, and
oh, cool.
She's you know, she hates the Bay Area, but
one of the lucky few though that's doing what she set out to do.
Yeah.
So expensive. There's so much. It's like you can't. San Francisco is just like, you know, used syringes, needles, and, you know, human feces all together. It's like you just don't want to go there. So, but being in Alameda and being an island, there's only one way to get there. And as my daughter says, BART doesn't go there. So it's really safe. You can walk around. It's nice, cool. A lot of restored Victorian houses, which they live like underneath a Victorian house, because the people who own it totally renovated the basement. So there's like a brand new, really nice 2-bedroom apartment that's in the basement of this Victorian house, which scares me a little bit for the earthquake.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Right. Oh my Lord.
So I'm hoping they'll leave there, and they will.
Or
they hate it there. They hate it there because, speaking of Arlo, the couple upstairs who are both lawyers, they have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and who have weird names I'm trying to remember right now, and then a baby who's named Arlo, and they also they got a dog and a cat, and there's no soundproofing between the basement and the first floor. So my daughter and her boyfriend hear every word, all the time, and plus they run around, they play musical instruments, you know, the whole family sing. But the little girl is named Ida, the 2-year-old, and they say Ida is always in trouble. You know, it's like, Ida, don't pull, don't push, don't, you know, it's like.
And they hear it all.
She can't catch a break, you know. It's just like that poor little Ida. I can't imagine. They say that she just like is in the top floor peering out the window, you know. And whenever they come home, she's like, bye-bye. Poor Ida.
Oh, shit.
All right, well, on that note, Pam, you got this video?
Because
still a lot to talk about.
Wait.
We're getting low on time
That's
already.
barren wasteland out there.
It's a shortcut. Trust me.
think we're in serious trouble, Jeff.
We were just talking about all these horror vinyl being released, the soundtracks, and just talking about how awesome it'd be to have a Bloodsuckers from Outer Space vinyl, you know. But
very good, yeah.
The master tapes have been lost for 35 years.
Yeah,
right?
we don't know where anything is. Nobody knows where anything is. So I think we just didn't realize at the time that we need to save things.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it was film and all that, so you would think you'd. But I mean, I have some of the original, you know, elements. Like that's what the transfer, you know, the 2K transfer was from a. I think it was a color reversal internet or something of that nature, but it looks good. So
very cool.
There you have it.
Awesome. You want to break down this fight scene we're about to watch?
Man, this is going to be hard to break down. Really, I like the way, you know, Robert Bradeen describes it in that we talked about Bloodsucker Reunion, and he has so many funny stories about the bits and how it was shot and all that stuff, which we had a guy who, James Prince, who's a cool guy, he's the one that got run over, the Bloodsucker extra, who got run over by the car.
Yeah, yeah.
And he does...
That was a great effect, by the way.
It was, yeah, well, the undercranking was stupid. We shot it first as a run-through.
Okay.
And he broke the windshield because the car wasn't supposed to be going that fast. And Tom was driving it, of course, not a stunt driver. He doesn't always do it.
Right.
And he was supposed to, he said, oh, man, I was supposed to let him go this fast, but I didn't, you know, I didn't know I was supposed to. I was, like, aiming the wrong way. And so James, like, rolled up and broke the glass. And we didn't, it was a run-through, we didn't shoot it.
Oh.
So we had to shoot it again, and because we didn't want James to get real serious injuries, we undercranked it. So it looks pretty... you know, it's funny. It is what it is. But anyway, so James is still around in, I don't know, one of the suburbs, Richardson. Maybe he has a theater that he does, you know, he directs and acts and shows.
Really?
So yeah, he's not doing stunt work anymore because I think he's probably, you know, had some serious injuries. He was limping.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding. He's fine.
The bones get brittle as you get older, though. So
it is.
But
true.
it was a lot more than I expected.
You don't want to fall down. When you're older, when you're young, you could fall down. You fall, you know. When I was a kid, we'd jump off the roof of the house.
Yeah,
just
I
for
was the
fun,
same kid.
and land on our feet.
Yeah, I was the same kid. You get the little tingles in your ankles, and that's about it, and you walk away from it.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah,
man, it's so funny. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, for God's sake, I'm practically 60. I'm not jumping off any roofs.
I'm 39, and if I was to jump off a roof, I would dislocate a knee before I made it off the roof. Like, it would be the jump that would screw me up. The landing would just be the fruition.
So don't do that.
Yeah. Not this week anyway. So,
I got to break down the scene. Well,
this fight scene.
James choreographed it, and the thing is that we were very limited because of Chad's idea to shoot everything in, you know, still, the setups were static. So a lot of times it would have helped if we could pan or tilt. And I think that the fight scene could have been a lot more effective and, you know, easier if we would have actually had some camera movements. So I think the static shots made it very complicated, but also made it look as phony as it could possibly look.
Yeah.
And so that part, the kung fu thing, and of course, Robert tells about he's got on the overalls and they're too tight, and he, you know, part of it when he falls on the ground when he's doing the kung fu, there's like some sort of turkey shit on the ground. He gets it all over him.
Oh, no way.
Anyway, I didn't even notice it.
I didn't either.
I mean, when I was there, I didn't notice it. I can't remember anything, but I do like the part after they get over the fence where they're doing some punches and stuff. I think that's kind of fun. And then, of course, when they get over with where Jeff pulls out the machete, it's like, you know, that's a little too corny for me.
Oh, really?
That it just happened to be stuck in the ground. Maybe not. But the arm, severing of the arm is, I think, the best thing in the movie. I mean, I like it a lot, and I think that's where the line comes in. You know, you cut my fucking arm off, which is, of course, the signature line of the movie. And Robert Bradeen loved it because he got to say that line. He couldn't say it in front of his kids though. But he says he showed it to his whole family. He got together with everybody, and they all watched it. And he asked them what they thought, and they said, "We want our money back." And he's like, "I'm just kidding." They didn't, but they did say that. Anyway, he was a funny man. I liked him a lot, and I used to hang out with him, but he passed away.
I will say this, and I'm sorry to hear that. That's
well, it happens. It tends to happen.
It does. For all of us.
People get old, they get sick, and they die. It's just a typical thing, and sometimes it's too bad if they're younger. But anyway, go on about what you were saying.
Pardon me. So there's
you pardon me.
There's a level of comedy that is achieved by people that really know their comedy, and one of the things that really has to take place for something to be funny is somewhere in there you have to throw in a joke that you allude to later. If you watch stand-up comedians, they're gonna start with a joke,
right?
They're gonna end with a joke that alludes to it. This fight scene is one of those times because you have the full fight scene and it's funny and everything is what it is. Later in the movie, the young lady refers back to, "We're not going to have another kung fu scene," and I just immediately was like, "That, bravo on that for alluding back to it and reminding us of that hilarious scene."
Yeah, Laura Ellis, she didn't really get the script, so she didn't know why she was saying certain things. Like when they're in the car and he's like, you wait in the car, I'm going to go. And she says, "Oh, no, walking is good. I like to walk." That's what I thought. It makes sense. "Oh, okay, I like to walk." But for her, she didn't understand it. So she always say, "Walking is good. I like to walk." And then when I, recently, she's like, "I always thought that was funny. I didn't know what that meant." Yeah, okay. It doesn't matter now. It's fine.
Right.
She did a great job. She was good.
So did you write in like the whole breaking of the fourth wall? Did you write that in, or was it improv?
I loved that.
Where he just kind of looks up and winks at the audience before he grabs the machete. And she did it too whenever she mentioned, "I'm not about to watch another fight scene."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, those were the two. I don't remember anything about that. The thing I do think is funny that I like is when Jeff and Julie are coming down the hallway at Research City, and there's that eerie music playing, and Jeff stops and says, "Boy, that incidental music is scary."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's Tom's favorite scene in the movie.
See, that's some.
And
that's
Tom's
some Leslie Nielsen
Tom's
stuff.
still around, and he's good. I like him, and he's still. I wish I could make another movie just for him, because he's great, and he's so funny and so clever. I just like at the thing that we had at the Texas Theater about a year and a half ago. I introduced all the people that were there from the cast and crew, and it's like, of course, I introduced him, last because he was the star of the show, and he stood up just like, and everybody was crazy. It was like,
at Frightmare?
As he should. No, at Texas Theater, as he should be, because he did a great job, and he should have worked more. But that's just the nature of the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
So Pam, you want to roll that fight scene? I think you broke it down pretty well, man.
Yeah.
Cut it out! Uncle Joe, you're scaring me!
Don't be scared, Jeff. I won't hurt you.
Get out of my way.
I've got to keep you here. Soon you'll be one with us, and then you'll understand.
I'll understand what?
I'm an entirely new creature, Jeff. Just relax.
Don't tell me to relax. You're monsters, both of you.
Does this mean you're not gonna stay for supper?
Jeff, I think we're on the menu.
I'm giving you just one more chance to get out of my way.
Just be patient. Very soon you'll be ready. Ready to feel the urge. And then you'll love to satisfy the urge. You'll erupt with passion each time you suck the warm life from your prey, holding it in your arms, caressing it as you suck.
Why don't you make up your mind? First you want me to be a photographer, then you don't want me to be a photographer. Then you want me to be a dairy farmer, then you don't want me to be a dairy farmer, and now you want me to become a bloodsucker. I can't deal with this!
You cut my fucking arm off!
I've got a recipe for spaghetti I know you'll love.
First time, every time.
There you go.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cut my fucking arm off.
And he confirmed it. I thought I saw hamburger meat on that gash. And that's
Well,
what it
none
was,
of this.
you
It
know?
was actual meat.
Hey, pack some meat on there, man. It's a real thing. Fucking, you hate feet too, though, right?
Yeah,
Does
you had
that
me
bother
stick
you?
that in my mouth earlier, if you remember. We'll talk about it after the show. I'm just kidding.
So we have one more shot, but we don't need to show it because you were just telling me it's towards the end of the movie.
It's a cherry picker that we rented from, I guess it's whoever was the city or the county or whatever that they use for
the city
electricity.
equipment?
We got it there, and the thing that was weird about it is that it was really foggy, and John, what's his name, was up on the top of the cherry picker, and he couldn't see anything, so he had to guess exactly what was happening as he was coming down, and it turned out great. But he said when he was up there, he had no idea. He just had to guess at what he was guiding, and it worked out because because you see in the movie how foggy it is. That was real. It just came in right before we started shooting.
Wow, that's cool.
Came in, which is we couldn't have asked for anything better. It was free.
Yeah, no kidding. Free.
For sure.
Love it when shit works out like that.
Well, we had
right?
the beginning we had the coming down, and at the end in Bloodsucker Town we have the cherry picker go up. That was the whole idea. It comes down at the beginning, goes up at the end. I don't know what for. I don't know what we were thinking.
Oh,
it worked.
Why overthink it? Why not just shoot a movie anyway?
So you went Stanley Kubrick
It's
with
forever
it.
ago.
Conceptual.
Well, but it was something that caught his attention enough that he brought it up to you. So obviously it was worth it.
Plant them Easter eggs.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad you liked that part, or at least that you noticed it.
Yeah, all at once there's an aerial scene in 1984.
Well,
How do you do that?
It was pretty high end, pretty expensive, big budget. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to ask you what the budget was. Can you tell me, or is it?
Yeah. It's like $50,000.
$50,000. See,
which is a decent amount of money because a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, that's why it got picked up like in a dozen foreign markets. It worked. It did well in the international market, and also, Lorimar Home Video picked it up. And as I said, they sold 60,000 rental units. But the reason it did so well internationally, I guess, is because it looked like a movie and it sounded like a movie. And I know that sounds funny and weird, but it's true because when you watch it, it's low budget. But if you're back then, especially, you kind of think about it. It's like this sort of is something I could see on TV, as opposed to a lot of low budget movies. It just looks so terrible that they're not lit properly. The sound is bad.
Yeah.
But the one thing about that making a movie back then, I have to say, because all the kids now that are making movies where they just run it over the camera, I really liked shooting on film because we had to be very precise. Everything had to be set up exactly right. The exposure, the focus, everything. You had a focus puller every time a foot of film goes through the gate there. It's just like that's money.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that you're ready, so that you're, for me, it's like shooting 3 to 1 because, if it's, 3 feet of film for every one that you use because, you have to keep, because even if it was 16, by the time you get the negative and then you process it and then you get work prints, and then and then cut the negative, it's, you just have to be careful. And I like the fact that we had to do it that way, that we had to be serious about it because we were making a movie, as opposed to let me get out my little video camera and run around and I'll shoot 500 hours of footage and make a little movie. And for me, making a movie is a really serious thing. You know, I really respect and love film, and so you know, I mean, nothing's shot on film anymore, but at least when you have a film with a budget and people know what they're doing, they do set it up in the same way as film. I mean, it's, you know, everything's perfectly set up. You know, they're doing it like a real movie, but it's just so easy to do a shoestring budget thing or make a movie in your backyard, and you know, it's just like it can look like crap. Which and I tell you, I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah, that's what I'll be watching a movie, you know, an independent thing, very low budget, and everything will be running smooth, but then the audio will be off, like really loud, you know, or really quiet when it should be just the levels. Yeah,
even in the same scene,
and that would ruin it. You know,
the lighting does that to me. I can't watch any soap operas because the lighting just drives me nuts. If the lighting's wrong in a movie, I can't.
Oh well, soap operas, they have good lighting. It's just fully lit.
It's
horrible. Of course, when we
saturated.
talk about whack movies, I'll go ahead and bring it up because I have a video label, a DVD label that is kind of dormant. But anyway, I used to, you know, pick up a lot of these small budget, you know, young filmmaker movies, the ones that I thought were worthy that people needed to see. And, you know, I had to look at a lot of stuff. And then also for Wild Eye Releasing, I used to look, all the screeners that would come in, I could look at them and write a little coverage and say, you know, tell Rob, is this, you know, he says, is this something, you know, worth it for, what are the elements? And I'm like, this one, no. But, you know, this one has some pretty decent gore in it, and, you know, even though it's, you know, not great, but it's, at least it has some sellable elements, or some of it is like, I would say, don't, but that way he didn't have to look at it. So, I think he paid me $2. But, so I stopped looking at those because I saw so many terrible, you know, home movie looking stuff that it was just.
I mean, people get paid to do that, like $2 or $3 grand to have their movies shipped to you and you analyze, and then.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. Yeah.
These
like,
movies didn't even cost $2 grand, I don't think.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, there's a market for that kind of thing. Consultants, basically, right? So.
I guess.
So you still doing the whacked movies?
It still exists. I've signed off my titles to Wild Eye Releasing. So whacked movies are still coming out, but they're coming out through Wild Eye. So and there's some pretty cool stuff still coming out, and some things that are still that are still, you know, I have under contract that will be coming out. And you know, I mean, I'll take something. I take stuff, new acquisitions, but I just hand it over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say.
Take as much money as I can.
I was going to ask how the process was on that. You know, do you just open the doors for, like in music, where people just send their demos out to all these labels? So
I mean, certainly I would not be in a position to turn anything down, because I mean, I have to look at it first. It's like, basically, you know, I'm doing a contract with these guys that they get their money after there's a whole bunch of stuff you got to pay for. You know, it's like artwork, authoring, manufacturing. There's so many things that cost money. That's a lot of money, and they can't start getting paid until I make that money back. So, and the thing about it with me and with any company like that is, if the movie is a failure, you end up eating that, and you know, and even if, you know, no revenue starts generating for a while, then you still owe that money. And so you get several movies out there that you put a lot of money into every single one of them, and the money's not coming back in yet. You get in kind of a difficult position, and that's one of the reasons why I slowed down on that. But anyway, so yeah. But yeah, people they send in DVDs, and then also now a lot of things are online screeners. They'll just send you the Venmo link, and here's the password.
Click it and go. Yeah.
It's nice, because then you can just watch it. You know, you don't have to, like, go to your DVD player.
Okay, so we were talking earlier when you first arrived about the other stuff you got going on. You're doing the paranormal investigating thing?
Paranormal update?
I'm not doing investigation, really. It's paranormal update, and it's basically like, you know, I have a history with that. I grew up in a haunted house, and I have I am what is referred to as a sensitive, not really a psychic, but I can understand you know, the presence, and there's some level of communication I have because of my growing up in that house. But so anyway, I'm interested in experiences. So because I have a lot of experiences throughout my life in a lot of different places, and so I'm interested in people telling me their experiences. You know, actually, particularly if they would write their story and I can put it in, because I update weekly. I need to update more often, but the thing I'm interested in is how people experience these things. And I just did the video for. We're starting to do videos. I haven't done that really. Texas theater video because it's haunted and there's a lot of crazy stuff in there. So
it's like a documentary style.
Yeah, sure it is. And it's really cool and fun. But I mean, the thing is I'm not going to go in with a bunch of, you know, instruments. You know, I'm not going to like go with the EVP and say, oh, here it is. You know, one of those, they have those things that talk. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go in and investigate and like do all that nonsense to see if there are ghosts, because I can go in and I know exactly what's there and it's fine with me, but I don't have to prove it, you know. And then I can talk to people who worked there and who've been. Everybody's got stories. They have a book that's called a ghost log that they go through, and everyone that has something happen, they write their story down in there. So
that's cool.
For me, it's cool because I know what kind of, you know, like there's one which is a residual haunting, which is where there's no real connection. If it is an entity, it doesn't recognize you, it doesn't know what's happening, it doesn't interact. But basically, it's considered to be some sort of residual energy from something from the past that gets kind of, it's like a loop, you know. It's like, you know, it just happens.
A lot of times
randomly.
it's
there's
noise.
one ghost that is in the lobby that goes up to the stairway, which is a stairway that goes up to some offices, kind of creepy. But anyway, so that's one of the stories, you know. So, you know, I have the footage of me going up to the stairway and walking up, kind of, and then, you know, the guy's telling the story about it happening, and everybody experiences it there. And then there's also there's some really good stories. Anyway, so for me, the people that are having those paranormal experiences is more interesting than some guys that go out and, you know, we're setting up, you know,
like
stuff.
hunting, going out and ghost hunting, actually.
Yeah, no, you know, I don't know how phony it is and all that. We watched one. My wife likes it. I can't. It's gosh, one of the guys is named Prozac. You know what show I'm talking about? You don't have to.
No.
It's one of those shows like Ghost Hunters, but this one has some really creepy stuff happening because they have cameras set up everywhere that are, you know, like.
And it actually captures
leave it overnight. It appears to.
Yeah.
Some of the old taps were pretty good
like
for
in
that,
the library.
capturing stuff.
Well, this
back in the early.
This has got a lot of stuff that they catch, and so I kind of wonder, you know, when that chair goes across, you know, in the middle of the night with a stationary camera. I mean, is it
real?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say. It's just like they find so many things, you know.
You recently, if I'm not mistaken, you recently wrote about you and your wife having an experience where she had seen what she thought originally was an old friend while she was walking your dog. She was up at the top of a hill and looked down and thought she saw an old friend, if I'm not mistaken. I'll let you tell the story, but then there was much more that went to it.
There is a lot that goes with that one. She was out. You know, it's kind of, you know, it's in a little town in Missouri, and it's kind of, you know, in the hills. And
where in Missouri, if you don't mind my asking?
DeSoto, which is like 45 miles.
I live in Chillicothe, so I'm actually.
Okay.
I know, I'm aware.
That's right. It's by south of DeSoto, I guess. But I mean, DeSoto's south of St. Louis. I'm sorry. So we're in this little town, and there's a lower road because they have a lot that goes down, and then there's a lower road where, you know, you go down a ways and there's some houses, whereas right on is the woods. And especially fun because when we used to, because it's like a slope, and when it, you know, snows and it's icy, we could walk up to the top of the hill and get on a sled.
Yes.
And the thing is you have to cut it just right so that you could go, because otherwise you're going to go into the ditch or you're going to go into the woods. So, but anyway, so the thing is she's up there. It's kind of getting to be evening, and she's taking our dog out, and there was she caught a glimpse of something. And for her, it's just like me. She caught a sense of it being something. Not that it was a real person, but there's something she caught a glimpse of. And the first thing that came to her mind was that it was her friend Ricky from when she was a little kid, because they used to play together and, you know, go to the cemetery, the old cemetery, and play and stuff. But he had a lot of issues, and so he ended up dying. But anyway, so she got a feeling that's who it was. And so then a short while later, she was in, you know, feeding our dog. Naomi at that time was our dog. the dogs change, over time.
Yeah.
They keep moving along. You get another one. Here's the next dog.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, so she was getting, feeding Naomi, putting her food in the bowl, and a shadow kind of came over. It was like, oh, well, it's the dog coming. And when she looked back, not Ruby, pardon me, that's my new dog. Naomi's back in this doorway. We're in the basement, right? So there's like one doorway that kind of goes into sort of semi-finished part of the basement, where we sleep and stuff. And then there's back part, which is laundry and then some creepy storage areas. So, but the dog was stopped there in the doorway and wouldn't come any closer. So then another thing that happened, there's so many, I'll quickly tell it. I was awakened in the middle of the night by a crashing sound, which sounded like somebody had like a tray of either silverware or dishes or something that, boom, it had that crashing. And I thought, it's the middle of the night, so I don't think there's anyone upstairs dropping dishes. But I didn't, I thought it sounds like that's what it was. So I guess it was, that might have been, that, I'm trying to think if that was the night. Let me think about this, because anyway, so the thing is that I have a bladder problem, as you know, because I keep getting up. I may have to go now, but I have to go. This is true. I'll just tell it. I don't care what anybody thinks. There's a drain back there by the washing machine and all, because it goes in. There's no bathroom down. There's only one in the house. If I go upstairs, it's too much trouble. So I just walk back to that drain, but it's always to pee in the drain. It's always pitch dark during the night, but I just kind of remember, and I can, And so,
luck, I'd step right in that drain.
No, I'm good with that, So anyway, there's some hangers on a little bar over here, and they started rattling, and I thought, I kind of knew, I know what's going on, because I've had those experiences so many times, and then like something brushed alongside me, and of course the thing that I learned as a kid, the one thing you do is you don't react, you just act like you don't notice it. Because the more you react, the more it does stuff to mess around with you. So I was just cool about it, and then I went back to the bed, and then I told Kay about it the next morning. She's like, "Phew, okay." Then she was awakened by something that was like metal scraping against concrete another night. So that was a weird thing. And then one time we're going to bed, and I'm laying there, we're reading, and I felt the covers on my side of the bed pull, like they were being pulled off. And I thought it was Naomi was down there playing around, pulling the covers off. But then I heard her, their collar has a little tag that shakes. So I heard that, and it was like, I'm here where the thing gets pulled, and she's like on the other side of the room, under this, little table with the sewing machine. That's where she hangs out. And I'm like, okay, that was not her. But then we figured out when we went back there at some point, and Kay said, try this out. She picked up a tray on top of the toolbox and dropped it. That's what the sound was. And then there's a stool, like a tall metal stool that goes under the workbench. And so she pulled it, and it made that same sound. Wow. So there was stuff happening out there.
It was all with the tool bench.
Anyway, so, some little minor stuff. Most people, they send in a story and says, I heard a noise, I'm like,
yeah.
No.
More than that.
How do you solicit submissions? Like, how do you acquire them? Do you just, social media, make a post, and like, you got a ghost story, hit us up?
Well, I ask people to submit, but I have a really hard time. People say, I have a ghost story, I'm going to write it. They never do, people I know. And so I have a lot of experiences myself and all over the place. And so I write those, and I end up having to post them mine because I'm not getting enough, and sometimes I think I'm going to run out of material. But my wife reminded me this morning of another one. I said, "Oh, I forgot about that." So, because I shoot houses for realtors anyway, you get this lockbox on the front. You pull the little drawer out thing, and there's a key in it.
Rentley boxes.
So I always take that thing, and I put right there by the door with the key in it, because that way I can't lose it. You don't want to put it in your pocket.
Right.
So I shot this whole house, and I came down, and the key wasn't in there.
Oh.
And so I started looking around, and way in the other room, in the very corner, the key was laying there.
Wow. Yeah.
So I forgot about that, but that's what happened. But see, that takes my wife to refresh my memory, because there's so many that I can't remember every one.
That's
so
awesome.
that's why you can tell it doesn't bother me what happened. You know?
So with the video that you're shooting, are you gonna maybe incorporate some reenactments if you could?
No. I don't do that. No, but I do shoot footage like what's called B-roll. But I shoot footage that I use. If the particular thing's being described, then I have something, a shot that kind of that I can
relate it to,
that I can fit. Yeah, like
put it in context.
like the lady that goes up the stairs. Then I have a shot where I walk up the stairs. But the cool thing is, there's one thing that happened up by the projection booth. There's a projection room with a metal door on it, and then you walk down some steps, and there's a little landing. Well, the guy had it was like everybody was gone, and so he remembered that he had left something in the projection booth. So he walked up there to get it, and when he opened the door and he looked down, there was a figure standing down there on that landing.
Ooh,
and so that we did that whole story, and we shot it in that really creepy, spooky area when he told the story. So it was kind of, and then I also went around. I had a camera that I could just carry around with me that, but I could shoot in. It was like automatic. It was easy. I didn't have to do a lot of work. I could just, walk around. And so we went into all kinds of dark, scary, areas in that building that, I could just shoot a bunch, different stuff. And so I cut that together as part of the creepy part. And
okay.
I have music.
Very cool.
I have music up under, but it's, and then I have one part where I start at the front doors, which are the old, style movie doors, and come around that and past the concession stand and all the way around, and then I walk all the way through there, and there's a bar there, and there's people all around, and they're doing stuff, and I'm kind of like moving back and forth through here, going all the way to the very back where there are some stairs that lead up to like another area, up above. And so I didn't think about it at the time, but I was just shooting randomly. But then I had actually I shot another thing where I started at the steps and went up and went all the way through and back down where you could see the lobby area. And so then when I finally realized what I was doing, because I didn't know what I was doing at the time, is that they matched so closely that I was able to cut those on the steps, cut both, shots, so that it actually has the appearance that I go through the whole place
that's
without
pretty cool.
stopping, which I did halfway, but then I had to, but you don't tell, so if you watch it, I don't want you to be
of course
let down.
No, that actually
anyway,
makes it more interesting.
There's a lot, but that kind of place, there's so much stuff to shoot. The Texas Theater.
Yeah, a lot of history.
Old places, but there's just so many different areas and nooks and crannies and activity and stuff going on that you're not going to get that going into a house or in here. There was a ghost in here. Look at this. He was over there.
Right.
So how many of these have you made so far? Is it just the Texas Theater one?
I have stories that there's a new one every week, and if I can get somebody else to write something, that'll be good. The more I post, the more regularly, the better. It just builds faster. I need to have more than once a week, but I think adding the videos will make much more.
Absolutely.
People will be really interested in that.
And where can they find this stuff? All your
paranormalupdate.com.
And do you have a Facebook or any of the social media, Instagram and Twitter?
I have Facebook. I don't have Instagram yet. I have my own Instagram, but I haven't.
Gotcha.
I actually post some on my Twitter account and on my Instagram. I usually post if there's a new story, but I need to, get specific accounts for that, but I haven't yet. So I'll do it.
Right on. Okay.
I understand. Was there anything else you wanted to plug out there? You Whacked Movies is on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm going to do Whacked Movies podcast. It's coming up. So
That's
it's that.
right.
It's Paranormal Update, and I can't think of anything else right now.
Do you have a scheduled date for the Whacked podcast?
No.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Cool.
Yeah, let us know. So
can't wait.
It's about to be a new year, so it's a good time to start it than as any. So, well, Glenn, thank you so much for coming and joining us all the way out there.
You're welcome. Now I know that I'm actually important.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you, man.
Before I didn't know.
Always a good time. I hope once you get the ball rolling on all that stuff, you come back on and tell us about it. We'll watch some videos of
What else do I have to do?
Come hang out with us.
Come hang out with us.
I'll be a regular guest.
Hey, we do this every Sunday. So
I can't
come
play music though. So.
Come and hang out with us anytime you want. You're always welcome.
Yeah,
cool.
For sure.
So see us out with some Manifestive, and we'll see you guys next week. when we have Scum Scuns. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Thanks for hanging out with us for the entire October Halloween month and our season 2. I mean, it was a showcase the entire month.
That's right.
So
October.
That's been awesome.
So.
This should end up on Universe 25. Its working title as of now is Drummer Dust, simply because of the amount of drums and how it reminded me of Seven Dust. But it's a song in the making, and it's been growing for a little while. We've taken it on the road. Now we want to play it here for you guys.
Thank you.